Chapter 28, Chapter 152 Gun. JJ's POV. Everyone froze. Literally stopped. The man in the black suit standing in front of me gave me a murderous glare, his gun still aimed at me. And quat. Pull the trigger, and quat. I repeated, my voice unwavering. The man glanced between Kiefer's father and me. And quat. Jay, shut up, and quat. Aries yelled. I ignored him. My eyes remained locked on the bastard in front of me. And quat. Go ahead. Do it, and quat. I taunted. And quat. What the hell are you doing, Jay, and quat? Yuri asked angrily. I didn't answer him either. The man in front of me didn't blink. Just try it. I dare you. I'll be the one to close his eyelids. And quat. Come on, pull the trigger, and quat. I screamed. And quat. You can't. Can you, and quat. I smirked when he didn't respond. And quat. What will people say when they find out a student was killed because of the Watsons? That would be a disgrace to you, and quat. Silence. Everyone seemed to understand exactly what I meant. And quat. Can you really kill a student without a fight, and quat? I pressed. Even the other man in a black suit, holding a gun, seemed to hesitate. And quat. What will your business partners think? What will the public say? And most importantly, what will my father say to you? And quat. Dead. Silence. I glanced around. Some of them were looking at Kiefer's father, waiting for his reaction. But the one in front of me? His glare remained steady. Suddenly, Kiefer's father began clapping slowly as he walked toward me. And quat. Lower your guns, and quat, he ordered, then turned to face me. And quat. You're a brave woman. You know that? And quat. If only he knew the courage I had been saving up to finally stand up to my older brother. I think I used it all just now. I didn't respond. He stepped toward Kiefer and took the document from his hand. And quat. I thought I had you cornered this time, but it seems I was wrong. And quat, he said, then turned his gaze back to me. And quat. You and your friends can leave now. We'll talk again next time. And quat. He walked away, his men following him. But as he passed me, I shot him a glare before turning away. Look again. The moment they disappeared from sight, my knees buckled, and I collapsed onto the floor. CN and David immediately rushed to support me. The fear I had been suppressing earlier finally crashed over me. My body was shaking. My heart was pounding so fast it felt like it would jump out of my chest. And quat? Jay, are you okay? And quat? David asked. I clutched his arm. And quat? Jusmu. I thought I was going to die. And quat? I glanced at Yuri, who was trying to help Kiefer up. That stubborn idiot kept refusing assistance, of course. And quat? That was brave of you. I'm proud. And quat? CN said. Knack. I managed a weak smile. While the others fussed over me, I didn't even notice Kiefer approaching. And quat? Are you out of your mind? And quat? He snapped, furious. Everyone turned to look at us. And quat? Do you even realize who you just challenged? And quat? I shook my head. I had no idea who that was, just some staff member of Kiefer's father, I assumed. And quat? That was Dylan. He's a professional hitman. And quat? Hitman. I challenged a professional hitman. I challenged. My legs gave out again, and I sank back onto the floor. And quat? Jay, and quat? They rushed to support me again, but this time, I had no strength left to stand. I just stared blankly. I faced death. I really thought I was brave, but if that guy had pulled the trigger, damn it, I would have gone home as a cold corpse. And quat. I almost died, and quat. I stammered, still trembling. And quat. Yeah, but you didn't. So it's fine, and quat, CN said. Casually. If I had the energy, I would have smacked him. But I was too drained to even be annoyed. And quat. Where's Kieran? And quat. Keegan suddenly asked. My hands were still shaking as I pointed toward the table where I had hidden him. Keegan immediately ran over and lifted the tablecloth. Kieran crawled out and clung to him. Kiefer rushed over as well, immediately pulling both of his brothers into a tight embrace. Some might find the sight cheesy, but to me, it was powerful. And quat. Maybe we should get out of here, and quat, Drew suggested. Everyone agreed. David kept supporting me as we walked. I glanced at Aries and Ella. They were watching me, as if silently discussing something. Once outside, Kiefer helped Keegan and Kieran into the car. Then he turned to face me, his expression dark. And quat. Don't ever do that again, and quat, he snapped. And quat. Kiefer. He only did that to help you, and quat. Felix defended me. And quat. What if Dylan had done what he said, and quat. Kiefer snapped. We all fell silent. He was right. What if Dylan had actually pulled the trigger? But if I hadn't done what I did, Kiefer might have signed the paper, and all of his mother's hard work would have been for nothing. And quat. You just gave them a new idea of what to do next, and quat. His words stung. I felt a sharp pain in my chest as I listened. Was I just a burden to him? And quat. Next time, think before acting recklessly, and quat. He added before getting into his car. And quat. Come on, Kiefer. He was just trying to help you, and quat. David said, turning to me. I simply nodded in response. But it didn't feel that way. It felt heavy. All I wanted was to help. But somehow, it seemed like I had only made things worse. And quat. Don't overthink it. Even I was mad at what you did, and quat, Yuri admitted. And quat. But still, thank you for doing it, and quat. I smiled at him. At least someone appreciated what I did. But he wasn't the person I had hoped would. Third person's POV. 1, 2, 3. Dylan counted silently in his mind, recalling the number of bullets in the gun he had held earlier. The same gun he had aimed at JJ. His fingers twitched. He didn't care about money like most hitmen. His palm only itched when he was about to pull the trigger. Killing was his life. It wasn't about the payment. He could kill for free. It was the feeling he got when he killed. That was what he craved. And quat. How many times are you going to count those bullets? And quat. His boss asked Kiefer's father. Kaiser. Watson. Dylan turned his gaze toward the window, watching Kiefer's classmates as they left. And quat. I'm sorry. And quat. Dylan muttered, tucking his gun away. And quat. May I ask why you didn't let us finish them off? And quat. Kaiser let out a small chuckle. Dylan couldn't understand why his boss had suddenly decided against killing Kiefer's classmates, even though he had the power to do so. And quat. Because of that girl. She made a good point. And quat. Kaiser said. And quat. She impressed me. And quat. Dylan thought about it. That woman, she had real courage. But even so, he had seen her fear. And fear was something he loved to see in his victims. And quat. You know Gina? Don't you, and what? Kaiser asked. And what? Somehow, I see her in that girl. They really are mother and daughter. And what? Dylan had only met Gina once. It had been a long time ago. He didn't understand what Kaiser meant. And what? What are your plans for Kiefer? And what? He asked, changing the subject. Kaiser poured himself a glass of wine from a nearby table. And what? I need to get Kieran. That woman's financial holder is a pain. I can't access their money unless they're under my control, and what? He explained. And what? And as for Kiefer, I need him dead. I can't take him by force, and I can't break him physically. And what? And what? What about Keegan, and what? Dylan asked. If there was any humanity left in Dylan, it was his concern for the child he had once cared for. And what? Keegan is useless to me. I already took his share of the money. What I need now is Kiefer and Kieran's inheritance. And what? Dylan lowered his head. They were talking about big money. Since the children were minors, all of their mother's wealth was under the control of a financial guardian. The only money they had access to was a small allowance. Kaiser had already drained Keegan's funds when the boy fell into his trap. And once he had taken everything he needed, he had discarded Keegan like trash. Kaiser had no love for his children. Not even for his late wife. And what? Call my lawyer. I need to speak with them. And what? Kaiser ordered. Dylan nodded and left the room. He did as he was told, pulling out his phone to make the call. But before he could dial, another call came in. And what? Hello, and what? Dylan answered. And what? Next time, inform us of his plans in advance. And what? A voice on the other end snapped. And what? Sorry, I didn't have time to send a message. And what? And what? We're not idiots. You should have found a way. And what? The person shouted angrily. And what? I'm really sorry. And what? And what? We'll deal with that later. But what you did to JJ? That's unforgivable. We'll talk about it when we meet. And what? The call ended abruptly. Dylan clenched his jaw. Maybe this was the right thing to do. For once, he wanted to atone for his sins. And helping those kids? That was the only way he saw to do it.